The doctor is in. How is everybody? It's Wednesday. I think it's hot all over America. I don't know where you are, but actually it cooled down in Maryland today a little bit. But we are here today to continue our conversation that we started a couple of weeks ago, talking about young blessties, young women getting breast cancer, young Black women getting breast cancer in ridiculous numbers. And I think we've talked about this a little bit, but the data shows that Black women under the age of 35 get breast cancer at twice the rate of white women and die at three times the rate of white women. And if you're a Black woman under the age of 40, there's a 50% chance that you could have triple negative breast cancer, the most aggressive one. So the numbers are not in our favor. And so we've been partnering with anyone who wants to partner with us to talk about this stuff and make up some solutions for women. So today we have our very good friends from Young Survival Coalition, and we've been partners with them from day one. I think you guys established a virtual support group way before they even had them, right? I think we had the first one. We we don't always participate, but we helped get that going. Like, oh my gosh, when we first started Touch. So but you guys have an incredible, outreach and programs and all the things that young women need. And we're so excited to partner with you and talk about your work and talk about your stories. So who wants to start and introduce yourself? Dr. Mo's not going to be here today, so we're here. So Kendall, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello everybody. My name is Kendall Johnson, and I am YSC's NBC Thrive Program Associate. So I cover all initiatives, programming, and resources around metastatic breast cancer for YSC. Yeah, Lachandria.
Hello, everyone. I'm Andrea Harvin. I'm the manager of programming and events at Young Survival Coalition, or YSC. I have the privilege of developing the educational programs, conferences, retreats, and the community experiences that connect and support young adults affected by breast cancer.
Great, great, great. And you guys have the best conferences, the best dance parties. But I didn't go this year, but I went. Gosh, haven't I been for 2 years? Ari's been going for us, and Latoya. But the last one I went to, I was with our partner from Gilead, and all she could do was talked about was the twerking class at 7 a.m. And she dragged me up. I'm like, I'm too old to twerk, okay? And at 7 a.m., that is not my strength. But
Oh
but
my
and she was white, Jeanette, my back. She was but it was a great thing. It was a really great thing. So yeah, but the conferences are good. So let's talk about it. Zena, why don't you tell your story? Because I think you are who we're talking about, dude.
So, like I mentioned earlier, I was diagnosed in 2017 at the age of 34 with stage 3 triple negative breast cancer, and then diagnosed in 2020 with metastatic breast cancer. Um, when I was diagnosed with MBC, I was diagnosed March, I will never forget it. March 2020 is when I was diagnosed metastatic,
March
which if you can,
2020.
March 2020, if you can think about where we were and what we were doing, March 2020. So the world shut down, and I was also diagnosed
So
metastatic.
you know what happened on March, what day was it? Maybe was it March 20th? That there was a YSC conference. Do you know the
Yes,
story?
I do. In
And
LA, and it
we were
ended
all
up
we were
getting
all on our way.
canceled.
We
Yep,
were
yep.
all on
Everybody
our way
was
to LA. I was about to board a plane, and Stacy called and said, "We're done. We can't go."
yeah.
And people were showing up at the hotel. People were unreal. We were all headed to LA
Mhm.
that day.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy when the world shut down?
World shut down. It was one of the craziest times ever. And I do remember that. I wasn't with YSC at the time,
Oh
but
yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
one of those en route to the conference. And as we landed, I was told the
Not
conference is
happening.
canceled. You need to go back home. And I'm like, what do you mean I need to go back home? What is
Right.
happening? I'm here. So yeah,
Wow, wow, wow. So you had just been diagnosed
just been diagnosed
and you're
metastatic.
going to the conference. Wow, wow, wow. Wow, wow. Okay, let's keep going with your story. So you have triple negative. So you
I
had you
do.
what was your first stage? Stage two?
Initial stage 3. So I actually found the initial lump myself. I was misdiagnosed the first couple of times. and then ended up going to I was prior to working at YC was a pediatric nurse. And so I just honestly walked up to one of the doctors and I was like, "Can you look at this? This doesn't look right. It doesn't feel right. I've been told that it's nothing, that it's hormones, it'll go away." And they called a friend. I was able to get in to see the oncologist that I still see today. She's amazing, Dr. Pat, and we did all of the testing. And it turned out that it was metaplastic breast cancer, something I'd never heard of.
Wow.
Had to end up doing research on it. I was told that less than 2% of Black people under the age of 60 get diagnosed with this type of breast cancer. And so I had to do all the things. I did surgery, radiation, chemo, the whole nine. Was under the assumption that I did everything right and now I won't have to worry about it again. And then unfortunately found out that I was metastatic. So living with not dying from breast cancer at this point.
How long between diagnoses?
It was a little over 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah,
Did you have a double mastectomy?
I did. I did the double mastectomy. I did the deep flap, multiple reconstructions because I had flap failure and then an infection in one of the implants and all the things. So yeah. Mhm.
Wow, 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 and you're 30. Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, I don't know if it ever really goes away. Mine came back in a year.
Oh wow.
Like NBC, I was stage 3A, double mastectomy, all the things. And I don't think it ever goes away. I think it just like finds a hiding place and it's really tiny
That's
little things.
yeah.
And then it
That's what
wakes
I
up.
felt like.
And then it wakes
And
up
it's
again,
like,
you know?
it's time. Let's surprise. Here I
Let's have a
am.
party. Here we go. Right. Right, right, right. So how are you doing?
I'm taking it day by day, but I feel like I'm doing really well. There hasn't been any, I call it movement, but my doctor says no evidence of like activity.
Oh, that's
Um,
great.
yeah. So everything seems to be going well. I honestly don't think about it until I think about it, and I feel like that's weird to say. If I'm having a conversation with someone and they mention like, "Oh, I have breast cancer," or everybody knows somebody that has had or currently has breast cancer, and then it's like, "Oh yeah, I do too," and then the conversation starts, and so then I'm thinking about it again, like, "Oh, I do have metastatic breast cancer," and that's kind of the reason why I do what I do for our breast cancer community. But I feel like I'm doing good.
Good. That's awesome. That's awesome. We now have and just in the last month, so many TNBC options. I
Mhm.
actually talked to two of the drug companies that make our drugs today about what's going on in the world with TNBC and how, now we have solutions that we didn't have before. At least when I was sick, we didn't have immunotherapy, we didn't have ADCs. So, and the regular chemo didn't work for me. That's how mine came back. So we're in a better place than we have been. But so I guess I sort of understand why you do this work, right? Right. Hello. But how about you, Kendall? What's your why?
Yeah, so I'm not a survivor myself, but my mom was actually just recently diagnosed stage one. So she is kind of my
Oh wow.
why,
Wow.
but another part of my why was her close best friend actually was diagnosed 2 years ago, metastatic. And once I joined YSC or was interviewing to be a part of YSC, she unfortunately passed away from NBC. And then I
Uh,
was offered this position literally the next day. So
that was
it
God. That was
literally
God working, right?
it was God, and I literally told Stacy that in my interview. I was like, I feel like this position just kind of like happened and fell in my lap for a reason. And I took it, ran with it. Here I am. So it more so is me being a co-survivor and wanting to be an advocate for my family who I know and friends who I know diagnosed as well. And I've joined an amazing community with YSC. So definitely looking forward to continuing my time here and collaborating with all the partners and making a change within this breast cancer space.
Great, 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 great. It's amazing how all these things happen God works it out for us, right? However we got here, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, however we got here. Hmm. All right, so how do you feel about this whole young women, all these trends that are happening? I mean, you're in it. You both are in it with your work. Like, we were doing no, we were doing an event for clinical trials day a couple months ago. I guess it was in May. And we had this doctor on who I can't remember her name because I probably forgot it on purpose. And she was from Philly. She wasn't black, she was of color, but she said something like, I just looked at the ACS data and the breast cancer mortality rates are going down. And I said, not for Black women. They're not. They're the same as they have been since I've been doing this for whatever, 6 years. And she's like, well, we have all this good stuff. Like, I wonder why the young Black women are dying. And if I wasn't on Zoom, I would have hit her because I was like, what are you talking about? The reason why young women are dying is because they don't get mammograms. Hello, right? That the screening age is too old for Black women. And so, of course, we have a higher mortality rate under 40 because how would you know you had cancer, for God's sakes, right? And she made me so mad. And Mo was on the Zoom with me, and Mo could tell that the smoke was coming out of my ears. And I wanted to hit her. And she's like texting me, like, Ricky, calm down. It's okay. But like, how could you not think about that? And she's a pretty well-renowned oncologist in the Philadelphia area. But how could you not get that we need to be screened way younger? We have and I also think that the genetics, we don't know enough about Black genetics. And the genetics profiles that we have are all based on European white women. So even, genetic testing to me is, I don't want to say it's irrelevant, but it doesn't compare to, or it should be in conjunction with our family histories, because I don't believe we have the right science for our bodies, you know? And we also now know from, we're doing this big research project with Melissa Davis from Morehouse School of Medicine. It's a global study. And I want to talk to you guys about your global work too a little bit, but I spent some time in London a few months ago and looked at a TNBC cell under a microscope, a white one versus a Black one, and they don't look nothing alike. They look nothing alike. And we're making drugs for the white ones, right? So, I mean, there's so much science that we don't understand yet, but there's some basic things that could help us at a younger age that if we fixed them, maybe it wouldn't be so bad, like screening. Hello, right? Or even just having families talk more about their family, her story. And so, but when you have doctors saying, I wonder how that happened. I want to, shoot myself in the head, like, who's thinking about it except for us? So that's why the work that you do is so important because, not only are you helping the women who are in it, but you're helping people who may not have to get in it. How about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, talk about what you guys are doing. Talk about YSC, just for Young Survival Coalition, just because Stace hasn't been on the show for a while, and we get new customers every day. So some newbies may be watching this. Like, what's your organization about? And then what do you guys do?
Yeah, so Alexandria, I'll start a little bit. So we have a lot of different initiatives around community engagement. So one of our biggest things are our virtual hangouts. So we kind of provide a space for all of our different affinity groups, one of them being Black and African American women, to meet virtually, and connect and, create a space for them to just talk. It doesn't even have to be about breast cancer. They just a space for them to just, connect with others who are like them going through the same things. I think those types of spaces are important. And we also have that through social media as well, some of our private Facebook groups. And then we also have a lot of different resources on our website as well. Last year, we actually created a Black Health Hub, which is part of our website, and it has a bunch of different resources specifically for Black women. And not only is it resources, but you have personal testimonials from these women as well on different topics like clinical trials or talking to your providers, topics that aren't really spoken about as much. So. Those are some big things. And Lysandra, feel free to jump in whenever you feel.
You want to pull it up? Do you want to pull up your Black Health Hub? Want to
Oh
share it?
yeah, for
Why
sure.
don't you share it? Yeah. You want me to try to share it? You can probably find it faster.
Yeah, I already have it pulled up
Great, great,
actually, if
great.
you
Yeah. Let you share. Yeah. Yeah.
So this is it here. So we got some general narrative information, but if you scroll, you'll see our video talking about clinical trials. And you'll also find some readings on different topics, how your doctor will listen to you, navigating treatment, and as well as just some pointers specifically for Black women around finding culturally sensitive providers who will listen to you, and be your advocate as well as yourself. And then we also have some of our partners down here. We have Toast down here as well, and y'all's Black Data Matters kind of piece, and some of our
Great.
other partners, like for the Breast of Us and When We Trial. So
Oh,
these are
great.
all
Yeah. That's so great. Yeah. When we
specifically,
trial, that's awesome.
yes, so all of our tailored kind of resources for Black women are listed here. So yeah, be
Phenomenal.
sure to check it out for sure. It's a lot of good stuff on here.
Cool. And I'll put the it in the link. Um,
Yeah,
let me see here. So it's Black Breast Cancer Health Hub. Okay, cool.
yes, and I can share the link with you too, Ricky.
Yeah, I'll put it in our Facebook comments. Cool, cool, cool. Cool, cool, cool. That's awesome. That is awesome. And I know the virtual group is really good and vibrant and to me that's one of our most important things. We just started. Ari just started. And she named it our next chapter.
Yes.
Um,
I've been
um
sure to promote it, so
yeah, that's great, great,
yes.
great. So maybe we should have like a mashup sometime
Yeah,
and
for
do them
sure.
together. Yeah, she does it, we do it. She does it the last Wednesday of every month. I think at like
Okay.
8:30 Central.
Okay. Yeah, our
Central.
Black Virtual Hangout meets the fourth Thursday of every month
All right,
at
we should
7
talk about
p.m.
that. We should talk
Yeah,
about yeah,
for sure.
let's talk to her and we'll do a mashup. Maybe we'll come to yours and you come to ours or something. We'll do like a little mashup and get everybody together. Because Ari has a really good group of women who are talking. I think she even has one guy that comes.
I love
Um,
that. Yeah.
and I've not been to it since she started, and she won't let me. She says I'm too old. She says I'm too old. Story of my life, but but
Well, it's funny you say that because at BattyCon, where we met Ricky, a lot of people who came up to our table were like, "Well, I feel like I'm too old to be a part of YSC," and I just flat out told them like that's not true. Like, yes, we target people or those diagnosed before 41, but we
right.
welcome all survivors and thrivers into our community. So we want to make sure that we know everyone knows that.
Right, right, for sure. Everyone, there's never no is never the answer. We just partnered with um the Booby Queens with Whitney O'Connor. And you
Yes.
know what? I met Whitney at a YSC conference.
Oh, wow.
And you can't see on my crowns. Like
You
there's
have your crown.
I have so many. This is my latest one that she made for me. But
Yes.
I have them all over my desk. You can't really see them here, but anyway, I met her and I was like, this is like the greatest thing ever.
Isn't
I
it? Yes.
I bought like I had to buy a suitcase to bring them home, and because I bought the money, but I met her there, and she has such a great story. But we just did a retreat for 8 metastatic young women, and we built so we're building a mental health curriculum with her for Black women. So as soon as we're done with it, where it's going to be housed on her website. We'll share it with you guys because I think it'll be a great resource for all Black women, you know.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
but yeah, she's such a great therapist. You know, she's such a I mean, she's a brilliant therapist, and even being in this work, I never thought about things the way that she does as a therapist. You know, that's just,
Mhm.
and I remember when I was sick, and my nurse navigator said, do you want to talk to a therapist, a psychiatrist?" I'm like, "Well, I don't know. Is that going to help my breast cancer?" You know, and I'm old school, so you know, like therapy is like, oh my God, you know, do that, right? In the Black community, right? But I did, and it was so helpful. It
Mhm.
started me on my therapy train. So, but I think what the curriculum we're building, I think is going to really help everybody. But we kind of piloted it on these 8 women on this retreat a few weeks ago, and learned a lot from them. Learned a lot about what they're dealing with. We had 2 women. I guess Kayla. I don't know if you know. Do you know Kayla, Ari's friend? She's 27. They're both 27. She's one of Ari's besties, but she has metastatic. And she's 27. We had her, but they basically kind of, she was the youngest one there, but they basically talked about, you know, kind of what it's like, what you're dealing with, Sandra, you know, all the things you're dealing with. But 2 of the women had stopped taking tamoxifen after a couple years, and their cancer came back. So they were dealing just with the mental anguish of just that alone. And, you know, I think we as women are like, okay, what did I do wrong? Did I eat the wrong foods? Did I not exercise enough? Did I whatever? You know, and we kind of like we sort of go introspective on what we could have possibly done to get this disease. And we didn't do anything, you know, and I think just dealing with that sort of decision making guilt was horrible for them, you know, because they're both, you know, in their 30s and young 40s. So but I think we all need this sort of mental support to deal with
Yes.
crazy.
Yeah. It's difficult being Black and talking about going to therapy. I go to therapy as well. In my family, you prayed about it. You don't take your business out of the house. You pray about it and you go on. And then, but getting diagnosed twice back to back, it's one of those where you're just kind of like, what did I do wrong? And
Right,
as a Black woman, you are used to fixing everything. You figure it
right.
out. Don't need any help. You can take care of it. You can do it all on your own. And then you get hit with something like breast cancer, and it's not something that you did, and it's not something that you can fix by yourself. You do need a community, you need other people, you need people like you guys at Touch, like YSC, and opening up and just kind of accepting this is not something that I can fix. And that in and of itself is a difficult process, a difficult thing to do.
It is. It really is. And you know, I think everybody should be in therapy from like puberty.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, when the hard way. I think we should all get a different voice that's not our family, right?
Mm.
And frankly, a lot of us don't talk to our families about, especially about health and stuff. But I think that sort of outside voice perspective is a good thing for all of us to be dealing with. Okay, tell me the website again. I screwed up. Youngsurvival.org. And then
Here,
um
I'm gonna drop it in our chat
okay,
here.
drop it in the chat here. Okay, great. And I
Yeah,
can put it on Facebook. Okay, great. Um, but yeah, I think that we all need that support.
for sure. Something that we piloted last year is our group coaching initiative. It's not necessarily therapy, but still on the aspects of psychosocial assistance. So we had our MBC cohort and our Black cohort pilot last year, and
Mm,
both of them went well. So group coaching, if you don't know, it's more so led by a licensed clinical social worker, but it's not therapy. It's more so discussions and kind of coaching on how you can move forward as far as after your diagnosis or through your diagnosis, and just creating a safe space, a small, intimate space for women, or survivors and thrivers. So we had our Black cohort last year, and it went very, very well. And all the women, I believe we had 9 women a part of that group. all of them came back with super positive feedback, and we're just grateful that they had a space to be vulnerable and learn from one another, as well as the coaches with some guidance. So that's something that we're looking forward to expanding on. This year we did a queer cohort and a Hispanic
Awesome.
cohort. So
So how do
trying
people
to
get involved in that, Kendall?
yeah, so we are still in the pilot phase. So our those two cohorts just kind of wrapped up. So we're looking more into next year for our next two cohorts and trying to figure out the next two affinity groups to target. But we do have information about that on our website as well, and I can drop a link in here for them so they can find it.
Oh, that's great. That's really great. That's really great. We can't have enough resources. And as I've been saying this, I've said this like 42 times today. Because somebody asked me something about, well, what'd you do last year? I'm like, well, here's it. But you know what? How many women today got diagnosed? And Moel says that I think the overall number is a woman gets diagnosed with breast cancer every 2 minutes in America. Isn't that crazy? I don't know what the numbers are for Black women, but I'm sure it may be more frequent than that. Who knows, for God's sake, right? So every time we put a new resource out into the world, we're talking to a new audience. We're talking to the people like us, like, Sandra, but we're talking to people who just got it today.
Yeah.
Just went on the website today to figure out what's going on, right? So we have to be so timely and topical about giving the best, newest, latest information. I know you guys spend a lot of time and energy on that too, like we do, to make sure that we are on top of the trends, on top of the drugs, on top of the stuff, but also just providing an outlet for conversation,
Yeah.
you know, I had this call, and it will remain nameless, the pharma company I met with today, and they were talking about a new drug they were launching, and they were going through all the data. And those charts where basically it's like a graph, but the graph goes down like this, right? So, I mean, they basically start graphing when the people are alive to when they die. But that's how they decide how good the drug is, right? Because is this longer than the last line, right? So they have like the drug, the standard of care. But at the end of the day, both of the graphs the lines look like that. Nobody wants to see that. I mean, and clearly they're trying to tell the good story of it, right? Because it is a good story, because this line is longer than that line, but the lines are still going down, right? And so to try to explain to scientists that that is not really a good picture to show to patients. I hear you on, overall cure over whatever, the PSF, all the letters they use to describe, that your the overall survival. But at the end of the day, it's still kind of a bleak picture to somebody who's sick, because the lines are going, right? The lines aren't going. And so we spent an hour on the phone, Emily and I, trying to help them transcreate what the message needs to be and how to tell it to patients in words people can spell, from a voice of trust.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's so hard, because at one point I said, okay, everybody just close your eyes and pretend this is your mother. Pretend you're talking to your Aunt Susie. Pretend you're talking to your cousin Betsy. Pretend like, this is not your job, but it's somebody that you love. And if you showed them that picture, how do you think they would feel? And I do this all the time with people, with scientists, and it's like a rude awakening, because they never thought about, they're so ingrained in the science that they can't think about, gosh, we're talking about real people.
Yeah, a person, exactly.
At the end of that line are a lot of people, right? How many made it to that line on your graph, right? So I think, I feel responsible to make sure that the work that we do paints the right picture, so people can walk away and see hope,
Exactly.
not the end of a graph, right?
Right.
So, but we need the drugs, and that's what they do, and it's so funny too. They always say, well, what do you need from us, Ricky? We need drugs that work. Drugs that work on Black women.
And have them understand that it's not necessarily about the quantity of life, but the quality
The
as
quality of
well.
life. Yeah, like if I'm gonna have diarrhea every day for the next 6 months and I can't get out of my house and get off the toilet, then that's not fun,
That's not
right?
fun. No, yeah.
Right. And even when they talk about side effects, we talk about side effects in terms of life impact. Can I
Mhm.
go to work? Can I feed my kids? Can I have sex with my husband? Can I take a walk by myself?
Exactly.
Yeah, and what are you doing to help me do those things? Like I did a focus group with a bunch of women who were on CDK4/6 inhibitors, Ibrance, Kisqali, Verzenio a few years
Mhm.
ago. We don't know anything about those because we have TNBC, but
Exactly.
a lot of them were doing a trial on Kisqali and so it's a pill. So I'm a mama. I got two kids. I got the baseball game at 2 o'clock. I got the ballet thing at 5 o'clock. You think I'm going to take that pill today?
Yeah. No time. You're not going to remember.
I'm not going to remember, or I'm going to choose not to get diarrhea today. Even though I'm metastatic, even though I'm like, I know it's for my best, but I want to go to that ballet recital. Damn it.
Yeah.
And so when I say that to a scientist, they're like, oh, how could she not do that? Because that's life. Because because she's choosing life. She's choosing life. She wants to be with her kids. So just helping our pharma partners understand those dynamics about what they're doing for us is like, that's our job as advocates, right? Because they're thinking about how do I make this the best pill, the strongest drug, the thing that's going to kill the cancer and shrink the tumor and do all the things. It's so funny too when they say, what if we say shrink the tumor? I'm like, that's what we want to hear. Shrink the damn tumor. Those are good words. Don't show me the graph. Tell me you're going to shrink my tumor by Friday.
Mhm.
Because that's a phrase you can understand
That's
and
a phrase we
internalize.
can understand, right?
Shrink the tumor. Got it.
Got it.
Okay.
Check the box. I've got that.
Yeah.
I understand it.
Yeah.
But tell me I'm going to get OS and PFS and all these things. What does that really mean? Overall survival. Okay, well, what does that mean? I'm going to get better? Does it mean it's going to go away? Does it mean I'm going to, not deal? So, even the words no evidence of disease, which I've been saying I have for 15 years now, 14 years now, what does that really mean? You know? And it never goes away.
It does.
So you guys talk. I'm talking too much. You guys talk.
You're a great speaker. I love listening to you.
But this is your show. This is your show. I do this every week.
Well, you mentioned wanting to hear about some of our research, so
Yeah,
we could
yes, I
talk.
do. Oh, yes, 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 definitely. That'd be great.
Yeah, we just recently opened up or opened back up our Project 528. So that's our global needs assessment. So the 528, it refers to the 528,000 young adults impacted by breast cancer worldwide. So we just opened that back up, and I can drop the website link for that as well. It's a pretty cool website. It's very interactive on here. You can go through and read the previous report, and kind of see all the areas that we've hit. We've hit multiple countries, so we have a lot of resources and information about that. Um,
How many
Let
countries
me
are you
drop
guys
this in
in?
here.
I'm putting in. How many countries are you guys in, or was the study in?
Oh, sorry, hold on.
Okay, I'm putting your last link in here too. I didn't get that one.
Of course, my computer's freezing.
It's okay.
I can
The
see
last one was your Oh, there I got it. About 528. Okay, cool,
Yes.
cool. I'm putting that one in here. Yeah, when you type it in, it goes into the Zoom, not into the Facebook. So that's what I'm doing.
Oops, my bad.
No, 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 it's okay. I got it. Um,
Okay.
okay.
Yes. So you asked about the countries.
Yeah.
Um, I want to say at least 15 plus. I know Australia, Canada, obviously the US, Mexico, Sweden, Spain, South Africa, Netherlands, you name it. Like you could see
Nigeria. Yeah.
Nigeria, yes. There's an
Does that mean any other
interactive.
African countries? Okay. I knew you were in Nigeria because I met a woman that was in the study
Oh wow, that's cool.
in Abuja.
Yes. So those are our 10 countries that we've hit. So we're looking to expand that a little bit more. I know Jen Morsdorf, our CEO, she is very passionate about getting this project and expanding it. So we're looking forward to this second wave and getting
Right.
more results because obviously this data matters.
So what's the key learnings that have come out of it so far?
Yeah, so we have actually pulled some specifically for Black women.
Do you want to pull it up? Is it on your site?
Oh yeah. Oh, I have a document put
Okay.
together by our very own Bree
Oh, great.
Elastigfin. She is kind of over this project 528. But I could just read off some of the data
Yeah,
for
yeah,
you.
yeah, for sure. Great.
So, so from our previous kind of batch, we had 3,838 respondents. 186 of those were Black and African Americans. So that's about 4.8%. 14 of those were living with MBC, 29% diagnosed TNBC, and 57% had a family history of breast cancer. Now, what
Wow.
I found interesting about that was 36% of these women disregarded or delayed reporting their symptoms when they first noticed them.
How
And some
many?
of
What percent? What percent? 36?
36, thirty-six
Wow.
percent disregarded or delayed
And these
reporting
are
their
Black women.
symptoms.
Black women.
Yes, Black women.
Wow. Wow.
Yep. And a lot of their responses were they just thought they had disc breast tissue. They just didn't really know any better. They just thought they had to have a lump, um, or they just couldn't schedule time to go to their doctor.
So do you know the country breakdown of that? So I learned something interesting in Ghana last year that the women, even the young women, found a lump, but it didn't hurt. So because it didn't hurt, they didn't do anything because they were waiting for like a pain. Well, it can't be anything bad because it doesn't hurt. And so now all of a sudden it's oozing out of the body and now it hurts. But I mean, even like little things like that, we don't think about here in the US, right?
Right. Yeah, I don't know the geographic on that, but I do know, and I have another stat that kind of relates to that is 31% of these women were told by their healthcare provider that their symptoms weren't cause for concern because they were too young.
Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Dismissal all the way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's not only happening in the US, that's happening around the world, right?
Yes.
Gosh, that's pretty frightening though, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It goes back to my comment earlier about screening and just, young women having to deal with all these crazy things that they shouldn't have to because people
Right.
think we're going to get it. Wow, interesting data, huh?
Yes, it is. And it's very important. So
So
we're
what can
looking
we do
forward
about
to.
that? What can we do? What can we do? Like, what can we do? I mean, except for what we're doing. I mean, you guys are doing all the awareness things we can, but there's never enough, and I met this family at a share conference a few years ago, and the woman was 37. She had stage 3 triple negative, and it wasn't until she got sick that both her mom and her aunt, her mom's sister, told each other that they had triple negative breast cancer, like in the last 2 years.
Mm,
They didn't tell each other. They didn't tell her. Now, could she have caught it earlier because she had a newer history, right? Isn't that crazy? And like this whole thing about not talking to our
mm,
families is just like, I don't think we can talk about that enough with Black
mhm.
people, sharing her story. And that's why we have our LMG stuff, our share her story worksheet. We have to put this stuff on the table. you know, and we have to put it on the table. You have to know about it before you're sick.
Right.
You have to understand what a clinical trial is before somebody's on fire. But I don't know how we educate young women more aggressively, you know. We have our little internship program trying to reach out to college students, but you know, we got to do more, right?
Yes, I was definitely about to mention that. I see your TikToks all the time,
Do
and
you?
I think social media is definitely don't facepalm, it's a good thing.
I know.
Social
Yeah.
media is definitely going to be a big part in reaching young women specifically because, I mean, we're on there, we see it, we're doom scrolling every day, but it's how we get this information to them and how do we get them to do something about it, you know?
Yeah, and take an action. I know those TikToks. I've seen a few of them. I try to not look at them. That's Ari. That's my Ari, you know. Ari's doing that. And our interns do those, you
Yes.
know. Um,
But
um,
that's a great start, you know?
yeah. I know, and I know Ari keeps telling me that this one went viral. I'm like, okay, don't tell me what it said. I don't want to know. But no, I know, but I think social media is definitely, you know, we have to be there. We have to be on TikTok and meet them where they are. That's why we do so many events too. But um, even though educating the moms, though, you know what I mean?
Mm,
Like, one of the things we ask our interns to do is make a video with your mom or your grandma. And in most of the circumstances of now, I think we've had like 122 interns. Most of them, it's the first time they've talked to their moms about boobs.
mm,
And they're all like sophomores in college, sophomores and juniors.
mm.
So they've talked about birth control, they've talked about sex, maybe, they've talked about don't get pregnant, but they haven't talked about boobs. And that's where we could learn so much from our families and kind of be able to assess our risks. I think also the whole thing about getting a risk assessment at age 25, nobody knows that. Nobody knows to do that. So, you know, I mean, you know, I think because of the work that we do, we can help our families, but you know, we think we have to sort of figure out ways to educate people about, you know, did your mama have it? Did your grandmama have it? And then also, then there's prostate cancer. Did your dad have prostate cancer or colon cancer? Like all the cancers at some point are all connected in Black people. Like my dad had colon, and I did find one study a few years ago about colon in the dad could have some implications for triple negative,
Mm.
right? I mean, but again, we don't have enough Black research about Black bodies and Black people. And, but I do know that the family history thing is critical,
Mhm.
you know? Um, I know, I think you guys spend most of your energy around people who are sick, right?
Yes, we try to also highlight co-survivors as well, so
Mm.
spouses, friends, family. So we have spaces for them as well. Whether it's a virtual hangout, we have our private, kind of the same kind of outlets for co-survivors. And same with, moms parenting. We have a moms virtual hangout as well. So yeah, just providing those spaces and creating those spaces for people to be vulnerable because just talking about it is a form of, getting it out there and you never know what people know. So
They know nothing, you
real.
know? But why would you? How
Right.
would you? I didn't know what triple negative breast cancer was. And my mom is a survivor. My mom, I had a family history, but still I didn't, you know, I mean, I was pretty religious about doing my mammograms because my mother had it, you know, I was pretty diligent, but no one really told me to be vigilant, except for
Hmm.
my mother. You know what I mean? No one in the health world told me, oh, you have a higher risk because your mother had it and her aunt had it. It was just sort of go get a mammogram, you know. But now, I mean, I hope we have much more people are much more attentive to their history and their needs, and the world is, you know, talking about it more. But I still feel like, you know, we're got to do more. always more, better, faster. We got to do more. We got to give more. We got to say it more, scream it, yell at more often. Yeah, my shirt today, get shit done. Right.
No, that's right.
um,
Yeah.
so we have a lot of work to do. So if you had to look out over the next, like, horizon, like the year's half over, isn't that crazy? The year's half over already. I don't know how that happened. How come it takes forever to get through winter, but summer's half over?
Right.
Right.
It's not fair.
It's not fair. But if you had to look out, like, okay, in the next 6 months, what are we all doing to make a difference? And then sort of laying the groundwork for next year. I mean, I think we're all crazy advocate people running all over the place, doing all the things, but if you had to say focus your energy, what are like the one or two things you think are like have to happen today? If you could like get someone in a corner and say, give me money for this or focus on this, what do you think that would be?
Mm.
I don't know the answer either, so I'm gonna think about it too.
Yeah. Um,
It's a long list.
I'm, I would definitely say improvement with the clinical trials.
Yeah.
Um, I'm one of those that whenever somebody tells me about a new statistic or a new study or a new whatever, I'm always going, it's like, let me go read the fine print. How many people looked like me were a part of this study? And then breaking it down further from that. How many people were in the same situation? Were they Black? Were they young? Were they from the same area? Did we lead a similar lifestyle? It's like if somebody was like, hey, here's a pot of money, I would want to see more clinical trials for people that basically led a similar lifestyle to mine so that I could know whatever medications we were creating worked.
Work. I love that. So, we're recruiting for a bunch of trials. And so I actually talked to Stacey about this a little bit. We really want to work with you guys more to help find Black women to be in them. And I feel like our pharma partners are really open-minded about that and really want to do the right thing. And I think they just need help to do it. So we're going to keep plugging away at the clinical trial thing. That's my passion, is to just get more drugs that are tested on our bodies. So I'm with you on that one. And we should work more with you guys about just finding patients, um, and helping patients find the trials. Right. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. What about you, Kendall?
Yeah, I would definitely say the research aspect of it. There's just not enough of us being represented. And within that research, I think something like our needs assessment is very important because we're hearing the exact words from these survivors and thrivers and kind of learning what they need in their moments of treatment or post-treatment, like hearing directly from the survivors and what they need, I think is very important.
I agree. I've had, many conversations too with our partners about what is really going on with young women. And I
Hmm.
think if you did a survey, I don't know if you guys have kids and stuff, but I think if you did a survey of like women under 40, they'd say, my biggest concern is my kids, kind of,
Yeah.
right? Um,
Yeah.
or not having kids or something to do around kids, but, and I think that's sort of like motherhood and price of entry, like that's sort of the obvious answer. I think it's deeper than that. I think there's more. I mean, I think if you sat down and you really thought about what is driving my decision making as a metastatic cancer patient at age 35, what's driving me to make a decision to do XYZ therapy or not? And what tools do I need to be able to make the best decision for myself? Right? I don't know that women have that. And I think, we are all blessed because we're in this work. But think about that woman that's in rural Illinois, rural North Carolina, or even cities like the south side of Chicago or the south side of Atlanta, I mean, in southwest, southeast DC, when they're sitting with this disease thinking, what do I really need? What is really bothering me? the best thing we can do for you. I don't think we know that yet. I don't think we've done that research. You know what I mean? And dug into. So we're going to try to work on that a little bit because I want to understand it better so that we can make the right resources to help women in that situation. Because I think we don't know. I think it's the tip of the iceberg to say, I want to take care of my kids. Of course you do. But what's keeping you up at 4 a.m? What's making you say, I wish I had? What is that wish? Other than I wish I could make it go away. So I think we can work together on that. We'd love to work with
It
you.
might be a good opportunity, Kendall, to talk about our listening sessions, and maybe an opportunity to partner with you guys on that. But I know Kendall also had some research on the listening sessions that we do.
That's great. You
Yes.
have here some data on that.
Yes, so during our national summit, we do what we call listening sessions for our different affinity groups.
Yeah.
So I had the pleasure of sitting in on our Black listening session and our NBC listening session. And we received a lot of good data and hearing about, the different needs and wants from the Black community specifically. And I'm pulling up my notes here, but a lot of them were around either not having providers that understood them or just not having time to really comprehend all the things, and just feeling uneducated about the different resources and things out there for them. So that was a big thing, and we had 45, 46 women in this session, so it was really good to hear from them and kind of what they need in the moment. And as I'm reading kind of some of those results, like a lot of them just feel like we aren't represented. And that's the hard reality of it. But that comes with we have to be willing to, put ourselves out there into getting into these trials and all the things and getting into the data of it all.
But I think, we have to give them a way to find it,
Yeah.
right? And we have to go to them because they're not going to be able to find us. And once you get that diagnosis, it's like, right? So like
Hmm.
you're sort of fighting through this cloud of information, hoping to find, find something on AI that you can relate to that hopefully the God is true, and real. But that's why we have to keep working how to put it out there and meet them where they are, because it's hard, and they're not getting it from their doctors. I think, what is 80% of women go to a community hospital, so it's not a teaching hospital, and they could be talking to the oncologist, not the breast oncologist, not the breast surgeon, but the oncologist that's dealing with all the other cancers that may not have the latest data on Keytruda and Datroway and all the things, all the new things about triple negative, you know? So just simply
Yes.
have to work harder, you guys.
Yes. And just the world of technology changing. I remember hearing that some of the women, they were physically handed a copy of our navigator, which is a very thick
Yeah.
kind of binder that we had with a bunch of information. But they found it so helpful, but we're not printing them anymore, or doctors don't have them anymore, so they're not really getting the booklets or the media information that they need as well. So,
Well,
yeah.
I still have the box that they gave me of information when I was diagnosed in 2011. It's
Hmm.
right over there in the closet. I
Hmm.
never read that stuff.
Yeah,
Like they give you like pieces of what are you gonna read, right?
right.
Yeah.
I remember my first chemo, I took the Red Devil and I took back then you did for Tree NBC, you did surgery first and then chemo. And I did the Red Devil, Taxol, and Cytoxin all in one infusion. It was horrible. And so my first chemo, I got C. diff. So I was sick as a dog, right? Coming out of all the ends. And but I didn't know anything. I went back to that stupid piece of paper that says, you're going to have diarrhea. Okay, well, then I think this is normal. It wasn't. But I mean, so then I said, well, this is crap. I'm not really, why this didn't help me, after 3 days in the hospital with C. diff that no one told me I could get from just having chemo in a hospital, right? Um, so when I found it not useful, I'm like, who's gonna read that? And I think that's why we had our friends from LBBC last week, and they have a new app called the Flourish app.
Yes.
That's gonna help people. But again, I always say, what's black about it? I know that Ashley had some input there, so I'm sure she's done all the good stuff about it. But so I still think we need resources just for us. Our cancer is different. Our life experiences are different. Our mental health is different. And we need to address all the things. We wear a purple cape that white women don't wear. They wear a cape, but it's not as heavy and velvet and, overbearing as ours. Right. So I think we really have to think hard about how we can talk to our women differently and with relevance to give us what we need. So thank you for your work.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for your words.
Thank you for your work. Do you guys have any last words? We have a few more minutes and put some resources out there.
Well, I definitely want to mention in a couple weeks, we have our Signed On and Seen virtual summit that's happening July 22nd, 7 p.m. Eastern. I'll send that
That's on the
information over
website.
to
Is that
you.
on the website? I'll put that on
It is.
here.
It is on the website.
It's
And
called
then our
Signed On and Seen.
Sign On and Seen.
Okay.
And that is for everyone, all stages, co-survivors, thrivers, newly diagnosed. And then in the fall, we have our Wellness Summit. That's going to be in Seattle this year, September 25th
I
through the
saw that. I
27th.
saw that.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then, of course, our national summit will be in March with a date to be announced soon.
So the Wellness Summit is in September?
It's in September. Yes.
Okay, great. Okay. And then March for the big conference. So much fun. Best dance party.
I love hearing that. It always makes me nervous whenever I'm doing the different programming and planning. Like, are people going to want to work? Apparently they are. Are they
They
going to
want
line
to
dance?
twerk, okay? They
Sound bad. They
even at
do.
7 in the morning.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, there's something about dancing that makes it universal, right? Right. Okay, coolio. All right. Well, I'm so glad you guys came on the show today. And we have a lot of work to do, girls. More, better, faster. We'll keep plugging away. We're so grateful to have you as a partner. I adore Stacy with my whole heart.
Yes.
I adore
She's
her.
amazing. Yeah.
She's amazing. She is the biggest heart and the biggest hunk of love, right? She gives the best hugs, but and she has an incredible brain for problem solving and creative ideas and all the things. So you're very blessed to have her,
Yes.
in your corner. And we'll continue to work together and let's do more stuff together. And I know you made her proud today. So I'm sure she's checking us out. Hi, Steve. She's one of the first people I met when I started doing this work, and she'll be my friend for life. And we have lots to do. So thank you. Take care of yourself. Do the right thing.
I will.
You too, Kendall, we all have to take care of ourselves and all the women in your family and, make everybody do what they got to do. Be the CEO of your own health, be the CEO of your family's health, and be the boss of everybody and make everybody make everybody in your family's healthy. That's all we all have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And, you guys are working on the next generation. So you're starting young and got to keep doing it. All right.
Thank you for the work that you do as well. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for being here. And I will see you guys soon.
Yes.
Right? Give Stace a hug for me.
We will.
All right.
Thank you so much, Ricky.
Blessed love. Let's see if we can make some hearts happen. We never really know if they're going to come out. Oh, there they go.
Oh, nice. Oh, you got it.
You got it.
Sometimes it works.
It didn't work for me.
Blessed love. And we'll see everybody next week on The Doctor Is In. We hope this was relatable, reliable, and real. And we'll be here every week to talk about the stuff. So thank you. Blessing. Bye. Bye.